They laughed when he touched the grand piano, until he played a note that silenced the entire room, and the girl who mocked him realized she'd just witnessed something unforgettable. The ballroom shimmered under chandeliers as strings of polished laughter echoed across the marble floor. It was a charity gala, hosted by one of the city's wealthiest families, packed with socialites, influencers, and cameras. In a quiet corner, away from the spotlight, stood a gleaming white Steinway piano, untouched all evening. Mason, 52, the janitor for the hall, quietly shuffled between tables, collecting glasses and empty napkins. He wore an old gray uniform, his shoulders hunched from years of labor. No one noticed him. No one ever did. That was until a soft melody from the piano suddenly echoed through the room. Heads turned. Standing at the piano, his fingers hovering over the keys, was Mason. The moment lasted only seconds before someone shouted, "Hey, get away from that!" Gasps filled the room. The voice belonged to Brielle Langford, the wealthy daughter of the event's host. Dressed in designer heels and holding a champagne flute, she marched toward him, her tone loud enough to draw a crowd. "You're the janitor," she said sharply. "Do you even know what that's worth?" Mason stood, quiet and calm. "I wasn't trying to damage it," he said softly. "Just remembering." "Well, remember on your own time," she snapped. "You're here to clean, not pretend you're a musician." Laughter rippled around them. But before he could walk away, another voice rang out from behind the crowd. "Let him play." Everyone turned. It was Mr. Langford himself. "If he wants to play, let's hear him. If it's bad, we'll stop him." A few chuckled, expecting nothing. Mason sat again, hands trembling slightly. Then he played. And within seconds, the room fell completely silent. Mason's fingers glided across the keys with a grace that didn't match his calloused hands or his janitor's uniform. He didn't hesitate. He didn't flinch. Each note fell like raindrops, delicate, full of emotion, pulling the room into a hush so complete even the servers stopped mid-step. He wasn't just playing. He was telling a story, one written in melody, not words. Brielle stood frozen, her jaw slightly open, the smirk wiped clean from her face. Around her, guests exchanged wide-eyed glances. Some clutched their glasses tighter. A few even blinked away tears. The music soared, dipped, then slowed to a whispering end, so soft the last note seemed to hang in the air. Silence. Then applause, thunderous, genuine, and rising. Mr. Langford stood first, clapping hard. The crowd followed, stunned and moved. Some cheered, others whistled. Mason simply bowed his head and stood, ready to walk away, but Mr. Langford stepped forward. "Where did you learn to play like that?" Mason looked up, voice humble. "When I was young, I had a scholarship to Juilliard. My mother got sick. I left school, took care of her. Never went back." Gasps echoed through the crowd again. But this time, not in mockery, in respect. "Why didn't you ever tell anyone?" Mr. Langford asked. "Didn't think it mattered. I still had bills to clean up, even if I couldn't play the keys anymore." At that moment, Brielle looked away, ashamed. Her father turned to the audience. "We spend so much time praising talent with money behind it, and ignore the greatness hidden in plain sight." He turned back to Mason. "You're not cleaning tonight. You're headlining our next gala." Mason blinked. "Sir, you've been mopping our floors. Now it's time we give you a stage." And just like that, the man they mocked became the man no one would forget. The story of the janitor who played the piano spread like wildfire across the city, and soon beyond. Clips from the gala hit social media. A 15-second video of Mason's playing went viral, captioned, "Talent has no uniform." By morning, reporters camped outside the concert hall. News outlets requested interviews. Music academies sent letters. Even Juilliard, his former dream, reached out with an honorary invitation to perform. But through it all, Mason stayed humble. He still showed up early to sweep the marble stairs, still said good morning to the front desk staff before the cameras rolled. But one thing changed: how people saw him. Brielle, now noticeably quieter, returned to the concert hall one afternoon and found Mason alone, rehearsing. She approached slowly. "I owe you an apology," she said softly. Mason looked up but said nothing. "I judged you. I laughed. I never even saw you. And the truth is, I couldn't play half that well even after years of lessons." Mason gave a small, kind smile. "That's the thing about music. It's not in your title. It's in your soul." She nodded, emotion tightening her throat. "You taught me more in one song than I learned in 10 years of recitals." And with that, Brielle sat silently in the audience, no longer judging, but listening. That weekend, Mason returned to the ballroom, but not with a mop in his hand. Instead, he walked across the stage in a crisp black suit. The same Steinway waited for him under warm lights, but this time, it was his. The crowd, including Brielle and her father, rose in applause before he even touched a key. He played with the same quiet passion, only now it reached thousands. But perhaps the most moving moment of the night came after the final note. He stood, took the mic, and said, "They laughed when I touched the piano. But that didn't stop me from remembering how to feel." And in that ballroom of diamonds and chandeliers, the richest person in the room was the janitor who refused to forget who he was. Weeks after the unforgettable performance, Mason's life blossomed in quiet, powerful ways. He wasn't chasing fame. He didn't sign record deals or pose for magazine covers, though many begged him to. Instead, he accepted just one invitation: to teach. A prestigious music conservatory offered him a permanent position as an instructor. Mason, the former janitor, now mentored gifted students, some of whom came from humble beginnings just like his. He created a program called Hidden Keys, dedicated to uncovering undiscovered musical talent in low-income communities. Pianos were donated to public schools, scholarships were funded by gala proceeds, and every semester, Mason visited shelters, youth centers, and libraries to find the next soul with a melody buried inside. At the program's launch, Brielle stood beside him, not as a guest of honor, but as a supporter. She'd since traded her spotlight for substance, working with the initiative behind the scenes. "I thought I understood music," she admitted at the podium, "but I didn't understand its power until I heard it from someone the world tried to ignore." One evening, Mason returned to the same ballroom where it all began. He stood alone, the lights dimmed, the piano untouched. He sat down and gently played the song from that night. Slower now, softer. Then, halfway through, a small group of students, his students, walked in, one by one, joining him with violins, cellos, and voices. It wasn't a concert, it was a circle, a full one. Because Mason wasn't just playing anymore, he was passing it on. In a photo that would later be framed in the hallway of the music school, Mason sat surrounded by students, his hand on the piano, smiling. The caption read, "They mocked his touch, but it struck a chord the world still hasn't stopped playing."